Hi everyone, welcome back. So I just wanted to do a bit of a one video summary of my 5 placement games as Axis. I finished my games now. I have a rank, so let's just quickly jump in. And I wanted to also show some highlights from the 5 games, which I thought would be a bit interesting to watch. But yeah, so we won 5 out of 5 placement games, which is nice. It put us into silver tier, and I've since won 2 more, so we're 27th in gold currently, so we're almost breaking through into platinum. We're almost there, which would be nice. Get back to platinum. My main objective this season actually is it's not really an Axis focus. I want to try more with the allies, because the allies are definitely the weaker part of my game. As you can see, I've got the placement games for allies currently. I've lost 2, won 1. I am about to win 1, and the 5th and final placement game for allies is looking strong, so it should be a 3-win 2-loss ratio for the allies, which is not too bad. I would have liked to have won 4, I think, but yeah, not too bad. Work to be done though, clearly. But yeah, it's been a really good start for the Axis. I've been happy with the game so far. Yeah, so I thought we'd do a bit of a quick summary of some of the best games. Okay, so this was my first placement game against someone called Jazz. Now, this game in particular I quite liked because it was a sort of a repeat of what happened sort of in the pre-season warm-up game I had. I had the potential to take 9 victory cities by a certain point, but the difference in this game was I actually managed to pay attention and actually go for it properly. Like in the pre-season, the warm-up game I had, obviously I missed the take on the Hawaiian Islands. I was so focused on my bomber attack on San Francisco I wasn't paying attention to the potential of the win. So obviously playing a bit more clinically now, which is good. Obviously I want to be playing as sharply as I can be online, trying to get a good win ratio and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we took India fairly early on, which was nice, which then sets up the early possibility of having the 9 victory cities. As long as you can hold Karelia and all the coastline provinces in Europe, you should be fine. So we had a good, obviously, base of infantry with Germany, so it was just a case of stacking up on the coastline and just keeping them out for 1 round, which we did. They had a nice little army in Finland, both the British and the US, but it wasn't enough to take out the Germans and the Japanese fighters that were in Karelia, so we managed to hold on, and that was game 1. It was still fairly close. Obviously, the economy was a different story, but yeah, good game. So this was my 4th placement game as Axis. One of the closer games, I would say. Different things happened in this one. I think we had a good start against Russia. Russia had a pretty rough opening, which meant they were low on numbers straight from the off. Although we were a bit sloppy with France. I think we gave control to France, to the Allies, a lot sooner than we should have done. I lost control fairly quickly with France. She wasn't too good. It didn't matter too much in the end, as we had again a good front against Russia from the off, so that was fine. Grabbing the Hawaiian Islands, which was nice. And I think the problem for the Allied player here, Pitt, he moved his UK troops to try and defend Russia just 1 round too late. And so they weren't able to do anything. And I managed to catch them anyway on the attacking Kazakh. We had a good Japanese force nearby to try and take out theirs. They were going to try and defend Moscow, but they were already too late because I had a big German stack outside. So I think it's important to just keep an eye on the board and make sure you know what could be potentially hitting you in a few rounds ahead of time, because even if I drastically lost that fight, Moscow was still going to fall. Although, to be fair, he might have been retaken, but still, Moscow was doomed. So I think, there'd be more of an emphasis on fighters, less tanks. But yeah, a better game, closer, but still a fairly decisive one. So this was my final placement game as Axis, and Russia had a really rough start immediately. 2 infantry left in West Russia, 1 tank made it through to Ukraine. So I decided to go for a fleet in the Med. It's a strategy I've been trying out, messing around with it, because I do quite like it in some ways, because you can put a lot of pressure on Africa very quickly. Though it's not, I don't think it's optimal. I think proper defence can withstand it. And actually here he did a really good job of keeping me out of Africa. I didn't actually manage to get Africa at all, despite the Med fleet, so yeah, I don't think it's the ideal. But we had good odds on Russia in this particular round. It was round 5 for Germany, but we had some terrible rolls in defence, which meant that I couldn't continue the attack. I had to bail out. So it was a good defence from Moscow, unfortunately. So yeah, I had to retreat. It happens, but we left enough of the army. We had enough of the army left, so we wouldn't be in danger of a counter-attack. And to be fair, Russia had actually lost its planes as well by this point, so it only had infantry to attack with, so that was never going to be too much of a threat. But a nasty battle against Moscow there. The silver lining in that particular round was the fact that he left a fleet very vulnerable on the coastline near France, which meant I could kill 7 transports with my fighters from Berlin, so that was a huge plus, given the fact we just had a really rough battle against Moscow. So yeah, it wasn't until round 8 we managed to actually get the odds again for Russia. We took the Caucasus and just slowly built up troops in there until we had good odds, and that was round 8. And at this point I knew that I was going to probably lose with the German forces. It was not about that. I was just trying to kill as many as I could for the 1-2 punch with Germany and Japan. We had a lot of Japanese troops there for the clean-up should Germany fail, which they obviously would have done. I think the odds here were fairly bad against us, but it was just a case of trying to kill the numbers in Russia and then mop up with the Japanese, so that's fine. So we lost all our German troops. They were slaughtered in the assault, but it doesn't matter. Had enough Japanese troops to make it in the end. So at this point, even if you've not got India, which I didn't, it was still, I think, a pretty foregone conclusion that it was going to be an Axis win. Losing Russia is so huge, and if it's pity you don't have a whole lot of counterplay. He did have some troops in France and Europe, but it wasn't anything substantial. He couldn't really hold on to anything, so yeah, we had a big assault on India in round 11. We had obviously all our troops from Moscow coming down there to finish off the British last stand in India. Wasn't too much of a problem in the end, really. It was inevitable, really. Obviously, they can only deploy 3 troops per turn in India, so you're obviously going to get overwhelmed by a Japanese force that's got no other objectives. Any matter of time. But a good stand from Liveline99, he was his name. Yeah, he played a decent game. I think, to be fair to him, the Russia start was pretty rough, so it was it was a tricky job to hang on anyway, regardless of strategy. So we took Egypt. Yeah, mopping up all the rest of the things, and we also built bombers from once we took Moscow, the remaining purchase I made the Japanese for the last 3 rounds were just pure bombers. Just to have some fun and try and take out the last of the Allied fleet to really kill the game off. I think there's nothing much you can really do with the Allies in that kind of situation because Japan's so strong, and you can't really afford to build fleet and troops to drop off for transport. So it was kind of a dead game by that point. But yeah, after this battle in the sea zone, I think it was we didn't get to deploy. He was watching and resigned. So there we go, 5 games. That was the summary. GG's.